All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings tonight, 27-24 road victory against the Seattle Seahawks. They're 13-2, and we've been doing this kind of thing every Vikings video since the start of the season, where I'm just literally stating the record. It's genuinely insane. It's Sunday. It's late here in Florida. Sunday, December 22nd, and the Minnesota Vikings are 13-2. And whether the starting quarterback was Captain Kirk Cousins, whether it was J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold, it's insane. It's just genuinely insane. And so I want to tip my cap to the Minnesota Vikings and especially to the fan base because you guys are awesome. It's insane. And this game reminded me a lot of the Arizona Cardinals game a couple of weeks ago where for some reason, man, we're just in that era of sports, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, or, everyone's got an opinion. People got to make money. They got to pay their mortgage. They got to pay their rent, in our case here. And they come out here with these hot takes. Oh, the Vikings are the worst 13-2 team ever. I said this in a rant in yesterday's video where I believe, anything can happen, especially in football, but this is not life advice here because that reigns true. But anything can happen any given Sunday. And the big nitpick with the Minnesota Vikings is, well, who have they played? And I hear something like that and I laugh it off because I'm like, what on earth are you talking about? What do you mean, who have they played? Literally, what is the merit to that argument? And then I'll see wins like a couple of games go against the Arizona Cardinals. And then I'll see a win like today against the Seattle Seahawks where you're losing the football game with like 4 minutes left. And you have to put points on the board, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. And you got to try and win this game. And that's what they did again today. So, folks, welcome back to the channel. Oh, Jesus, sorry, I got to take this out. We're talking obviously about the Minnesota Vikings, but before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Super late night over here in Florida. We'll try and get this one to like 300 likes, folks. That would mean the absolute world to me. This game was so interesting because, Minnie was up 7-0 after the first quarter. They were up 17-14 thanks to a JSN Seahawks touchdown at the end of the end of the first half, heading into halftime. So it was 17-14. And I was watching this game and I never really thought this is like, it reminds me of my Green Bay Packers against Seattle last week, where it's just like, I don't really know. A team going into Seattle, I hate playing in Seattle. I don't know if Vikings fans also agree, but I hate going into Seattle because it's such a great fan base. It's a really talented team. It's a really talented, hungry, thirsty defense in the sense of, now they're 8-7 and the Rams are on fire and it's a really loaded NFC because of teams like the Minnesota Vikings. And, there's 3 games left in the year. You just never know. Like, I assume the Buffalo Bills won earlier today against the Patriots, but it's any given Sunday. And I just hate like the rigmarole of this era where it's just like, oh, well, you beat Seattle on the road 27-24. Like, oh yeah, are you all of a sudden now Super Bowl contenders? And it's just like, where did this stuff even spawn from? Like, I just don't even know where all this negativity and this distaste spawned from. Because if you ask a Minnesota Vikings fan, which I know plenty of, they're ecstatic, rightfully so. And so that final touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson for, I think it was 39 yards, was the perfect representation of how good this Vikings team actually is. Because even with Captain Kirk Cousins, if we go back to 2022, where you guys won a boatload of, one-score close games, you watch those games and you kind of got this feeling of, whoa, are you serious? They did it again? The Vikings won again. Like they're doing this on a week-to-week basis. Like, oh my goodness, I'm not talking about crowning Super Bowl champions. I'm not talking about deep playoff runs. I'm just saying it was like kind of eye-popping where it was like, oh my goodness, like where did this spawn from? Like, are the Vikings like one of the best teams in the NFL? Like, people didn't really want to believe it. And this year is so interesting because it's Sam freaking Darnold, and it's like this new look defense with studs like Andrew Van Ginkel. And so we're ranting for long enough. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not the NFL. I can't play the whole highlight clip. I can't play the whole game clip for you guys, but we're going to talk about this game a little bit. Sam Darnold went 22 of 35 for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And for some weird reason on YouTube and Twitter, I still saw, the Vikings didn't play a good football game, but they're still happy to get away with this victory. And I watched that game in a completely different sense where, like, my jaw dropped when Sam Darnold dropped first off the first touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, because I'm like, this dude's insane. Like, Sam Darnold, we know he has talent. We've been watching it all season, but it's like, oh my goodness, this guy's like, threading the basket here. Bread in the needle, putting the bread in the basket, however that saying goes. And that second touchdown to Justin Jefferson with the game on the line, it's like, oh my God, dude. This team could genuinely get as far as they want. They really could. They're 13-2, the Minnesota Vikings, with Sam Darnold. No disrespect to Sam or the Minnesota Vikings, as you guys know. They're 13-2. It's just genuinely freaking insane. And when Kevin O'Connell wins the turnover battle, good things happen. And that's exactly what happened today. But 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for Sam Darnold. You got to tip your cap for him. Aaron Jones had a solid game, 18 carries for 67 yards. But Justin Jefferson, 10 catches for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, was definitely by far just a really big difference maker. As good as Sam Darnold is and how good we think he could be, et cetera, Justin Jefferson's just such a stud wide receiver. Jordan Addison also had a nice touchdown catch. But moving forward, man, the defense is insane. So Dallas Turner, the rookie, and I think they were saying this on the commentary of the football game, where I think Kevin O'Connell, I've been talking about this for like years and years, where I always, kind of put it back to the 2022 Kansas City Chiefs. There was some veteran on that team. I don't know if it was Justin Reed or whoever it was, where it was like, look, dude, you guys aren't rookies anymore. Just because it's the end of the regular season, just because it's, the playoffs now, you guys are not rookies anymore. And Dallas Turner has been a dude who was not like highly critiqued, but people would say he's had kind of a relatively underwhelming rookie campaign. He had a huge interception early on in that game against Geno Smith. And then you had Theo Jackson with the game-sealing interception. And that's just a great representation of how complimentary this entire defense is. Blake Cashman, most people don't even know who Blake Cashman is. He had 12 total tackles. Byron Murphy had 10. Josh Metellus had a phenomenal game. Andrew Van Ginkel had 2 sacks yet again. This team, offensively and defensively, is so complimentary. And your next 2 games are going to be very big for seeding, maybe. Not necessarily. You got to take care of my Green Bay Packers next Sunday. But then, like, that Week 18 game, we keep talking about it. I think your statistics say the Vikings have like a 15-20% chance to be the NFC North #1 seed in the NFC. And I just look at this and I'm like, if you take care of my Packers and then the Detroit Lions in Week 18, the NFC might run through Minnesota. And so this was just a great win, and I hope you guys agree. But that's it for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, and Vikings fans especially. Let me know your thoughts on this game from this evening. Peace.